There are two particular things that I've noticed that could make it very difficult to be happy while you're single. But these two things really happen to be the triggers for our transcendence, our growth, and are the two things that can really set us up on a path of genuine, lasting happiness. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the B community. On this channel, we talk about the law of attraction, self-development, spirituality, and so much more. And today, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how to be happy while single, or what you should be doing while you are single, what we should all be doing while we're single. This could also apply to somebody who's in a relationship and needs to be a little bit more interdependent. If this is for somebody that's a little bit maybe too codependent, I think it's really important to learn how to be happy and how to feel whole and complete by ourselves on our own, to kind of be this idealized version of ourselves before we get into a relationship. And for a lot of people who are single and waiting, I think that's the term that a lot of people use, there are two particular things that I've noticed, that I've identified, that could get in the way of that. And today's video is kind of a solution for that, and what I've done in the past, what I do, and what I think could set us up for a really healthy relationship with ourselves, with being single, and prepare us for that relationship that we've been wanting to. I don't tend to talk too much about the very physical 3D reality of relationships and things like that on this channel, but it is what I'm focusing on in my life right now, what I'm studying, what I'm working with coaches on. And so I wanted to share that with you and share with you what I'm learning, what I'm observing within myself, within the people in my life, within people I work with, within, a lot of you guys that I speak to. These are some of the things that really get in the way. So I know that there's a whole world out there of people who really just hate being single, and because they're so scared of being alone, they stay in relationships that don't serve them, or they really settle for things that they don't want, or maybe they have a lot of hookups, which we know now is draining our energy. It's allowing energies that we might not be interested in having into our energetic field. And there's so much benefit to knowing how to be on your own, to being solo. It's something that when we are single, it's such a potentiality, such an opportunity for growth and for learning about ourselves. And think about it, if you don't find yourself interesting, how will anybody else find you interesting, right? We have to explore ourselves and see what is interesting inside of me. What can I discover inside of this human that I've decided to embody on this time in the planet? Being single is an incredibly rewarding time for us to experience the world through the solo lens of the person we've decided to be. And it's also a great time to develop ourselves into this ideal version of ourselves. While single, we can develop our personality, we can achieve goals that might take us away from relationships, right? From a partner. And generally, we could be selfish in a positive way during this time before we have the responsibility of another person in our lives. Before I get into the two things that get in the way of us having a healthy relationship with ourselves and with being single, I do want to give a big shout out to today's video sponsor, Once This Police Car Stops. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. See, ask and you shall receive. So today's video sponsor is one of my favorites, one of my OG favorites, Skillshare. Skillshare is something I really highly recommend for anybody who's starting to kind of go on this journey of self-development and figuring out who they are as a person on their own, their individuality, right? And that's because it is a platform for online learning where millions come together to explore their creativity, to explore themselves and their interests. Skillshare has thousands of inspiring classes for lifelong learners like myself that include combinations of video lessons and class projects to teach you pretty much anything you could think of, usually within an hour. I've taken Skillshare classes to learn interior design while I was decorating my home, graphic design for my business, audio engineering for my podcast. I've taken meditation and journaling challenges on there, and everything was really beginner friendly. Everything was really engaging and genuinely fun. So I recently found a class that I loved so much, and I want to share it with you because I chose it because it's good with the topic of this video of kind of like self-discovery, right? It's called Designing the Life You Want: 4 Exercises for Clarity and Motivation by Michelle be. It is so important to deep dive into yourselves and into who you are as a person, especially when you are single and waiting, right? So schedule a night for yourself, like a date night for yourself, to dive in and follow along as Michelle teaches you how to create your values, the 80-20 rule, and how to create your perfect day. Because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link below will get a free trial of the premium membership so you can explore your creativity. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video, and let's get into the content. So like I was saying, while you're single, this is an incredible time to develop your personality, to see who you really are, who you are as an individual, and who you're going to be in a relationship. We want to have a healthy relationship with being single. And to do that, there's two dangerous risks that we have to mitigate. And those are becoming bored and becoming lonely. And you can do both of those things. You could battle both of these things and go through both of these things, not so much as a battle, but with grace, by dating yourself. So I'm sure you've seen those TikToks and those videos of people going on dates by themselves. It's absolutely incredible. It is so good to date yourself. And let me explain why. It's a common human habit to fill up our time with other people when we're bored and when we're lonely. Yet there's this whole world out there waiting to be lived, waiting to be experienced. In this world, experiencing this world and living as yourself solo in this world could help you to become the most holistic, whole, complete version of yourself. So if we're feeling bored and lonely and on the verge of calling up a random hookup or getting into a relationship with somebody that we don't really want to be with just to not feel that we're alone, it's time to start dating yourself. Because there are way too many people who waste time on people and who waste people's time because they're bored and lonely when we could be enjoying this time. It's such a gift. It's such an opportunity. So this is my advice, and this is what I've done, and I'll tell you my own experience as well. Start to take yourself out on dates, alone, solo dates. Start to explore what you like to do. What are your favorite places to go to? What are your favorite restaurants? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do on a Saturday morning? What's your Sunday look like? What's your week look like? Can you develop a really beautiful kind of a routine for yourself to enjoy things? Dating yourself and exploring your inner world and the outer world will make you a more interesting person with varied likes and interests and things to talk about and opinions. This will create a strong energetic and magnetic field for you. So if a relationship is something that you're aspiring to, focusing on yourself in this way and dating yourself in this way will actually have the byproduct of bringing you closer to that manifestation. It's so important that we know ourselves on a deeper level. I remember when I moved to Amsterdam for 4 months, I was studying abroad. I was on a break from a really toxic relationship that I've told you guys about, in which I had completely lost myself. I had no idea who I was. And it was such a formative age too. I was 21, 2015 was 7 years ago. Why can't I do math? I think I was 21. It was such a formative time of my life, right? And I spent 4 months dating myself. Before this, didn't know what I liked and what I didn't like. But moving to another continent, to another place, and that's not what I'm saying you need to do. You don't need to go pick up your entire life and move somewhere else. But I did that, and I was alone very often. I made a lot of beautiful friends, but I was alone often, and on purpose. That was a decision I made. I went to museums, to cafes, to bookstores, to parks, alone. I cooked new meals in my shared kitchen. I rode my bike for miles and miles. I went shopping. I ate dinner at the restaurant near my apartment place thing that I stayed at alone. I talked to people around me. I got to know the staff there. I'm still friends with some of the people that I met at that restaurant at that time. And 4 months in, I remember having this realization like, oh my God, holy crap. I've become myself. I know who I am. And I remember thinking that I was a lot more like my child self than I had been since adolescence started, since I became a teenager. I finally came back to this childlike version of myself. And little Leeor was so interesting and had so many different things that she liked and that she was curious by and that she discovered and explored. So I'll never forget that time in my life. I was my only responsibility. I was single and not dating, and I ended up having so much fun, single the entire time, and I will literally never forget those days. It was incredible. Not only was I never bored because I filled my time up with fulfilling things, with culture, with exploration, I also stopped feeling lonely because I started to get to know myself. I started to enjoy my own company. It is really important to not just accept to be with yourself, but to like to be with yourself as well. Once we love being on our own, it's so much easier to extend that into existing friendships or new friendships and relationships. Creating a strong social support and social life, even if it's only with one other person or with your family, is so important. These moments while we're single, those moments of loneliness, are really moments of potentialities. What connection with ourselves can we nurture? What connections existing in our life can we nurture? What new connections can we create? Where can we network if that's our thing, right? Who can you call and connect with? Who can you meet up with for a coffee, a walk, an art class? When we search within, that's when we realize that the treasure has always been right under our noses. Happiness has always been in our own backyard. There are so many fun and productive ways to get to know yourself by taking yourself out, by doing a date night by yourself. You don't even have to go out. You can do it in the house. Get on Skillshare and take a painting class, an art class. Get on YouTube, take an art class, right? Or discover new podcasts, or, read books. These are all ways to date yourself. Make yourself a cup of coffee in the morning and just take a couple hours for yourself. I still take myself on day dates all the time. I go to the beach and I spend all day there exploring my alone time, my own mind, reading, eating lunch, listening to the podcast, and just being in nature. And maybe you like something more active than that. Maybe indoor rock climbing, axe throwing, golf, a cooking class, a movie. You can go to movies alone. I know society has tried to program us and say that we can't and make that a weird thing, but I think that's just because they want us to bring the whole family and spend more money. It's not weird. Go to a movie alone. Do your thing. And for those of us who are single and actively manifesting a partner, bringing the focus on yourself in this way, it's so funny because what ends up happening is we're taking the energy off of our focus and attention on the lack of a person by our side, and we're moving the attention on us and what already exists within us. And therefore, we're actually creating space for somebody to come into our lives. So it's ironic, but the second that you start dating yourself and not focusing on manifesting somebody into your own life, someone will come along into your life. And you're even more likely to meet somebody when you're out dating yourself, right? And possibly somebody who's interested in the things that you're interested in because you're at that museum or you're at that park or you're skateboarding or snowboarding or just going on a walk or taking a meditation class or a yoga class or something. You're in a certain store that you really like or whatever it is. You're going to meet that person. You're literally giving the universe all the space to do what it needs to do. Make this time all about you, not about meeting somebody, but about relishing the moments that you have for you. Because it's not going to be like this forever. More likely than not, you're going to end up with somebody that you love and that cherishes you. And you want to be ready for that person by getting these solo single days under your belt, by really knowing yourself, falling in love with yourself, because you are worthy of falling in love with. Find what lights you up during this time and really relish it because you deserve that. That's it from me today, my loves. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear how you take yourself out on dates. I want some ideas because I think I've exhausted my list with you guys in this video. I want to know what you do to take yourself out on dates or what you're planning on doing if you've never done that before. And tell me how it went. I really would love to hear how it went. I read all your comments, you guys. I pop in and out of commenting. I get hundreds every day, but I read them all. So I want to know how this went for you, how you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. It really helps the channel. I love you so much. And until next time, keep your vibration way, way, way up. Bye.